The veteran's hands were steady as he placed the last charge. 52 years old, bad leg, forced retirement behind him. But Commander Jack Brennan's hands never shook. Not in Fallujah, not in Kandahar, not now, kneeling in the darkness of an abandoned aircraft hangar outside Moscow, Idaho, preparing to destroy the last evidence of a conspiracy that had killed his father 50 years ago. The C4 was precisely placed, designed to incinerate documents without collapsing the structure. 28 years as a Navy SEAL taught you those distinctions. His encrypted radio crackled. Doc Harrison's voice, urgent. Ironside, contact inbound. Multiple vehicles. You have 90 seconds. Jack photographed the final documents. Russian intelligence communications. Payment records. Proof of the 17th and final cell. Uploaded everything to secure servers. 80 seconds. He armed the charges. Set the timer. Moved toward the exit. 60 seconds. Headlights swept the perimeter. Doors slamming. Voices in Russian and English. The network's last defenders arriving too late. 40 seconds. Jack reached the door. His extraction vehicle waiting 200 meters across open ground. Doc behind the wheel, safety within reach. Then he saw her. A woman, mid-20s, zip-tied to a chair in the corner. Civilian clothes, terrified eyes, a hostage the cell had been holding. Someone Jack's intelligence had not known existed. 30 seconds. Leave her and complete the mission. The charges would kill her but destroy the evidence. The network would finally die. Or save her and risk everything. 20 seconds. Jack Brennan had never left anyone behind in his life. He was not starting now. He ran to her, cut the zip ties, pulled her toward the door. 15 seconds. Gunfire erupted. Rounds punching through metal. Jack shielded the woman, took a hit to his body armor, kept moving. 10 seconds. They burst through the door. Sprinting, the woman stumbling, but Jack half carrying her. 5 seconds. Doc's truck roaring toward them, doors flying open. 3 seconds. They dove inside. Doc accelerated, gravel spraying. 0. The hangar exploded behind them, a fireball reaching into the night sky. The last cell's evidence turning to ash. The conspiracy that had operated for 50 years finally destroyed. Jack looked at the woman he had saved. She was crying, shaking, alive. Doc glanced at him. You cut it close, brother. Always do. But that mission, that final raid, that last piece of the puzzle, all of that came later. First, you need to understand how Commander Jack Ironside Brennan became the most dangerous man a 50-year conspiracy never saw coming. 6 months earlier, the journey began with a different kind of explosion. The one that ended his career and nearly killed him. Act 1A, Fall from Glory. The sand in Afghanistan was the color of dried blood. Commander Jack Brennan had seen that color before. In Iraq, in Syria, in a dozen countries where America sent its warriors to fight wars that never seemed to end. But this morning in Helmand Province, that red sand was about to become something more than scenery. It was about to become a memory that would define everything that followed. The IED was sophisticated, professional, buried under a market stall by someone who knew what they were doing. When Petty Officer Martinez stepped past the trigger point, Jack's mind processed the threat in the half-second before the world exploded. His body moved on instinct, 28 years of training compressed into one motion. He threw Martinez left, grabbed Rodriguez right, felt the concussion wave lift him like a rag doll. The shrapnel took him in the right leg and lower back, hot metal punching through gear and flesh, the kind of wounds that ended careers. But Jack Brennan had saved 2 lives that morning. That was what mattered. That was always what mattered. The medevac helicopter blades chopped the air above him. Someone was screaming. Rodriguez, crying over him, calling his name. The young SEAL's face was smeared with blood and sand and tears. Jack tried to speak, tried to say it was okay, that this was the job, that they made it out. But the morphine was already pulling him down into darkness. His last conscious thought was of his father. A Navy pilot shot down over Laos in 1971. A man Jack had never really known, but had spent his entire life trying to honor. Would Dad be proud? Would he understand that this was where the line ended? The darkness took him before he could find an answer. 18 months later, the darkness still had not fully let go. Jack stood in front of a Building 7 at Naval Air Station Oceana, Virginia, staring at the sign that read Aviation Warfare Systems Training Command. His reflection in the glass door showed a man who looked older than his 52 years, gray threading through his dark hair, lines around his eyes that had not been there before Afghanistan. a slight hitch in his posture, favoring his right leg even when he thought no one was watching. Master Chief Instructor. The title felt like being put out to pasture and being told it was an honor. He pushed through the door. The smell of coffee and floor wax and jet fuel hung in the air. Young sailors bustled past, barely glancing at the veteran with the Navy Cross ribbon on his chest and the cane he refused to use. Jack's office was a converted storage room with a metal desk and a window overlooking the flight line. F/A-18 Super Hornets sat in neat rows, wings folded, weapons pylons empty, waiting. He dropped his bag on the desk and opened the bottom drawer. Inside, carefully wrapped in cloth, were his father's Vietnam service medals. Next to them, photographs of his SEAL team, brothers scattered now across bases and countries and lives that had moved on. And there was Sarah, his wife, her smile captured in a photo from their last anniversary. 3 years ago, 6 months before the cancer diagnosis, 3 months before the funeral. He touched the frame gently, traced her face with one finger. "You need to let go, Jack," her voice in his memory. "You need to find something beyond the next mission." But what else was there? What did a grizzled warrior do when fighting was all he knew? A knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. Lieutenant Junior Grade Foster stood there. Young, maybe 26. The kind of officer who had read the manual but never applied it when everything was on fire. "Master Chief Brennan, we have the 0800 brief on weapon systems integration." Jack nodded, closed the drawer, followed the lieutenant down the hallway. The briefing room was full of young faces. Pilots, mostly. All of them looking at their phones or talking. The energy of people who thought they knew everything. Jack moved to the front, set down his materials, looked out at the sea of youth and indifference. "Good morning. Today we cover integration protocols for the AIM-120 AMR-AAM missile system with the APG-79 radar." A hand went up in the back. Lieutenant Marcus Webb, sharp kid, actual intelligence behind the cocky exterior. "Master Chief, with respect, we did this training in flight school." "Sir." The "sir" was an afterthought, a formality that barely concealed the dismissal. Jack felt something cold settle in his chest. The knowledge that to these young warriors, he was already a ghost, already irrelevant. "You did the classroom training, Lieutenant. Today we discuss what happens when the manual is wrong. When your missile does not track because someone made a mistake. Or when your radar gives you a lock but the target is not where your screen says it is." He paused. "Let the weight settle. In 2007, I watched a pilot die because his AMRAAM guidance circuit was installed 0.03 millimeters off specification. The missile launched. The missile flew, but it did not track. The enemy fighter put 2 rounds through his cockpit while he tried to figure out why his weapons did not work." The room had gone quiet. The maintenance crew had followed the manual perfectly. Every box was checked. But 0.03 millimeters? That killed a good man, a husband, a father of 2 daughters who will never know their dad because someone assumed close enough was good enough. Jack pulled up a technical schematic. "So yes, Lieutenant Webb, we are covering this again because I will not have pilots dying on my watch because they trusted a system without understanding how it fails. Clear?" Webb nodded. The others sat straighter, started taking notes. For the next 2 hours, Jack walked them through failure modes. The ugly reality of what happened when technology met combat stress. Some of it was doctrine, most of it was earned knowledge. The kind you only got by being there when everything went wrong. When the class ended, Webb approached his desk. "Master Chief, that story about the pilot, was that personal?" Jack met his eyes. "They were all personal, Lieutenant, every single one." Webb nodded, started to leave, then turned back. "Sir, you move like someone who has done more than teach. You think like someone who has employed these systems in actual combat, but your service record says SEAL, not aviation." Smart kid, observant. "SEALs go where they are needed, Lieutenant. Sometimes that means aircraft. Sometimes that means weapons systems. Sometimes that means places that do not make it into official records." Webb studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Understood, Master Chief. Thank you for the real brief, not the PowerPoint version." After Webb left, Jack sat alone in the empty classroom. Thought about the truth he had not told, the missions that did not exist on paper, the operations where he had learned about aircraft systems and weapons and the thin line between success and catastrophic failure. At 1200 hours, Jack walked the flight line. Being near the aircraft made him feel useful, made him remember when he had purpose beyond filling time. The maintenance crews were working, young sailors, most barely past high school, responsible for keeping $80 million aircraft operational. Jack watched with professional interest, noted the efficiency, the teamwork. Then he saw something that made his blood run cold. Aircraft 403 Fox, third row, a young sailor installing guidance circuits on the starboard weapons pylon. The work was clean, professional, following procedure exactly. But the serial number was wrong. Jack moved closer. Casual. Just a veteran taking a walk. The sailor was an E3, maybe 20 years old, doing his job exactly as trained. Jack checked the serial number against his phone database. Confirmed what his instincts were screaming. That circuit belonged on a different aircraft. One wrong serial number could be a mistake. But Jack's instincts, honed by 28 years of staying alive, were telling him this was not a mistake. This was deliberate. He pulled out his phone, started checking other aircraft, cross-referencing serial numbers with installation schedules. Found 3 more. 4 aircraft with guidance circuits installed using wrong serial numbers. All within the past week. All signed off by the same maintenance supervisor. Petty Officer Second Class Ryan Davis. Jack's mouth went dry. His pulse kicked up. Because patterns were not accidents. Patterns were intention. It was sabotage. He photographed everything. Documented serial numbers. Timestamps. Building a case that could be verified. Then he went looking for Davis. Found him in the maintenance ready room. Coffee in hand, talking with 2 other supervisors. Relaxed. Not the body language of someone worried about being discovered. Petty Officer Davis, a moment. Davis looked up, saw Jack. Something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, calculation. Master Chief Brennan, what can I do for you? Aircraft 403 Fox, the AMRAAM guidance circuit installed this morning. Wrong serial number. Davis frowned, pulled out his tablet, checked the records. Master Chief, the work order shows the correct installation. That is what the system called for. Check the parts manifest, not the work order, the actual parts tracking system. Davis hesitated, then checked. His frown deepened. There is a discrepancy, but Master Chief, if there is a database synchronization problem, that is IT, not maintenance. We work off the orders we are given. Technically correct, but something in the way Davis said it, the way he shifted his weight, told Jack this was not about database errors. This was about covering tracks. I am recommending a full audit of all AMRAAM installations for the past 30 days. Every aircraft, every serial number verified. Davis's jaw tightened. Master Chief, that will ground half the squadron. We have a training rotation starting in 48 hours. The CAG is not going to appreciate aircraft down for an audit based on clerical errors. Then the CAG can talk to me. Safety over schedule, always. Davis held his gaze, then nodded. Yes, Master Chief. Jack left the ready room, his mind already 3 steps ahead. If Davis was dirty, he would alert whoever he was working for. If Davis was being used, the audit would reveal the scope. Either way, Jack had just painted a target on his back. Good, because this seasoned warrior was done being the forgotten instructor teaching forgotten classes. If there was a threat to his people, he would find it. He would expose it. He would destroy it. That was what he was trained for, even if the Navy thought his training days were over. Act 1, be the brother. At 1700 hours, Jack was back in his office doing paperwork when his phone rang. Unknown number, local area code. He almost did not answer. Then training kicked in. Unknown numbers sometimes meant something important. Brennan, Ironside, tell me you have not gone soft in your retirement. Jack sat up straight. That voice, rough as gravel, warm as whiskey. Doc, Mike Harrison? The one and only. Heard you were at Oceana teaching baby pilots. Figured I would see if the legend was true. Doc, where are you? About 2 miles from your office. The Coffee Bean on Oceanic Avenue. I am buying. We have catching up to do, brother. The line went dead. Jack sat there processing. Doc Harrison. The man who had saved his life in Afghanistan. The man he had not contacted after Sarah died because he did not want to burden anyone with his grief. And now Doc was here, at Oceana, 2 miles away. That was not coincidence. Something was happening. Jack grabbed his jacket, made the drive in 12 minutes. The Coffee Bean was a veteran-owned cafe near the base. Good coffee, better pie. The kind of place where military gathered and civilians knew to give them space. Doc sat in a back booth, facing the door. Always know your exits. He looked good. 48 years old, but could pass for 40. Still fit, still dangerous. They gripped hands, the warrior shake, forearm to forearm. The grip that meant brother. You look like hell, Ironside. Doc's smile took the sting out of the words. You look like you have been drinking expensive bourbon and dating beautiful women. Only on Tuesdays, Doc gestured for Jack to sit. How you been, brother? Really? Jack thought about lying, about saying he was fine. But this was Doc. The man had literally held Jack's guts inside his body while running through enemy fire. Barely holding on, Doc. Most days I am not sure why I bother. Doc nodded. No platitudes, just understanding. Sarah, 3 years. Feels like yesterday. Feels like forever. Kids? Never had them. She wanted to wait until I retired. Then we ran out of time. Jack's voice was steady, but the words hurt. Now I am retired and alone and teaching classes to kids who think I am already dead. Doc signaled the waitress. Ordered 2 coffees and 2 slices of apple pie. Waited until she left. Jack, I'm going to tell you something and I need you to hear it. Sarah would be ashamed of how you are living right now. Jack looked up sharply. What? I only met her twice, but I remember what she said. She said Jack Brennan was the most stubborn, most dedicated, most incapable of quitting man she had ever met. She said you never gave up on a mission, never left a man behind, never walked away from a fight that mattered. Doc leaned forward. You are walking away now, brother, from yourself, from your purpose, from the man she married, and that is the one thing she would never forgive. The words hit like hammer blows. True, undeniable. Jack felt something crack inside, something that had been frozen for 3 years. I do not know how to be that man anymore, Doc. I do not know what the mission is. Doc smiled, slow and dangerous. Funny you should ask, because I did not come here just to check on you. I came because I need your help, and because I think you need what I am about to offer. Which is? Purpose, brother, a real mission, the kind that uses what you are instead of burying it under paperwork. Jack felt his pulse quicken. Talk to me. Doc pulled out a tablet, opened an encrypted file, showed Jack medical reports. I transferred here 6 months ago. Medical department. Started noticing something weird. Pilots coming through physicals showing subtle performance degradation, reaction times off by milliseconds, visual acuity down by fractions. Could be age, could be stress. That is what I thought, until I tracked which pilots were affected, found a pattern, all flying the same aircraft types, all from the same squadrons. Jack studied the data, saw the pattern. You think something environmental, chemical exposure? I think something deliberate. Doc pulled up another file. When I cross-referenced these pilots with aircraft assignments, I found maintenance anomalies. Small things. Serial numbers that did not match. Components slightly off specification. Jack's blood went cold. When did you start seeing these? About 8 weeks ago. Why? Because I found the same thing today. 4 aircraft with wrong guidance circuits. All installed this week. All by the same supervisor. Doc and Jack looked at each other. The look that passed between operators who just realized the mission had gone from reconnaissance to combat. Jack, if we are both seeing this, we are not looking at coincidence. We are looking at systematic compromise, sabotage, or worse, this feels coordinated, like someone is running an operation. Jack's mind was racing, connecting dots. Doc, what made you start tracking this? Doc was quiet, then a pilot named Lieutenant Rodriguez. Good kid, came in for routine physical. His reaction times were slower than baseline, not by much. But I spent 20 years keeping SEALs alive. I noticed details. What did you do? Ran additional tests. Found nothing conclusive, but his stress cortisol was elevated. Sleep patterns disrupted. Classic signs of low-level chemical exposure. So I asked if anything changed in his routine. And he said the only change was assignment to a new aircraft. Bird number 417 Delta said he had been doing cockpit familiarization, spending time in the aircraft during maintenance periods. Jack felt ice settle in his stomach. 417 Delta, that is one of the aircraft with the wrong guidance circuit. Sweet mercy. Doc set down his coffee. Jack, if pilots are being exposed during maintenance periods and aircraft are being compromised mechanically, we are looking at a 2-pronged attack. Degrade the human and the machine simultaneously. So when combat comes, both fail. Pilot performance down, weapon systems down, complete mission failure that looks like accident. Doc nodded grimly. And no one investigates because there is no obvious sabotage. Just bad luck. Fog of war. They sat in silence, understanding that they had stumbled onto something much bigger than maintenance fraud. This was enemy action, on American soil, in the heart of naval aviation. Finally, Jack spoke. Doc, why come to me? You could have reported this through medical channels. Doc met his eyes, steady. Because 3 days ago, I submitted a preliminary report, flagged the pilot health issues, requested investigation. And 12 hours later, my database access was restricted. I was told I was looking at classified information I was not cleared for. I was instructed to delete my files and focus on routine physicals only. They shut you down. They buried it, Jack, which means someone in the chain is incompetent or compromised, or protecting the operation. Doc nodded. I came to you because I need someone I can trust absolutely. Someone who knows how to investigate without leaving footprints. Someone expendable enough that if this goes wrong, the Navy can disavow without losing anything important. Expendable. Jack smiled without humor. Fair assessment. You are not expendable to me, brother. Not to the people who matter. Jack felt something in his chest loosen. The weight he had been carrying since Sarah died. Since Afghanistan. Purpose. Mission. Meaning. Okay, I am in. What do you need? For the next 3 hours, they planned. Doc would access medical records, look for patterns. Jack would monitor maintenance, track personnel movements, build a timeline. They would communicate using encrypted channels. Dead drops if necessary. Face-to-face only in secure locations. And they would work fast, because if someone was actively sabotaging aircraft, time was running out. Doc left at 0200. Jack watched him drive away, then locked the door, checked the windows, old habits from a lifetime of operations. He went to his bedroom, but did not sleep. Instead, he sat at his desk, opened his father's diary. The original, leather-bound journal with his father's handwriting. Jack opened to the last entry, May 20th, 1971, the day before his father's final mission. I know now that I will not survive tomorrow's flight. The mission parameters have been changed. The route takes me over heavily defended airspace. The intelligence is wrong, deliberately wrong. Someone wants me dead because I asked too many questions. Because I found evidence of Soviet agents in our command structure. If you are reading this, Jack, if you survived me, if you grew up to be the man I hope you become, then finish what I started. Find the traitors, expose them. Make my death mean something. I love you, son. I am sorry I will not be there to see you grow. But I know you will make me proud, because you are a Brennan, and Brennans do not quit. Jack closed the diary, felt tears on his face. I hear you, Dad. I am finishing it, I promise. Act 1, see the ghost? The next morning began with rain. Heavy drops that hammered Building 7 and turned the flight line into a gray mirror of puddles. Jack arrived at 0600, earlier than necessary. Sleep had been impossible. Doc had texted at 0530, one word, confirmed. He had found something in the medical records, something that correlated with the aircraft issues. They would meet tonight to compare notes. But for now, Jack had to maintain his cover. Had to be Master Chief Instructor Brennan, the forgotten veteran. Nothing to see here. He spent the morning teaching another class. Different group, same indifference. But he went through the motions, did his job. At 1100 hours, his phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Maintenance anomaly. Aircraft 417 Delta. You should see this. Jack felt his pulse quicken. Someone else had noticed. He made his way to the flight line. The rain had slowed to drizzle. Maintenance crews worked under tarps. Aircraft 417 Delta sat at the end of the second row. Jack approached casually. A young sailor was kneeling by the starboard weapons pylon. He looked up as Jack approached. The kid could not have been more than 20. Fresh face, nervous eyes. Master Chief Brennan? At ease, you texted me? Yes, Master Chief, I was running diagnostics. Standard pre-flight check, and I found this. He pointed at an access panel. Inside, the guidance circuit showed clear signs of tampering. Screws loosened. Connectors misaligned. Not enough to fail immediately, but enough to cause problems under combat stress. Jack's instincts had been right. This was deliberate sabotage. Who else knows? No one, Master Chief. I just found it. I was not sure what to do. Then I remembered your class yesterday about checking serial numbers, about not trusting that everything is as it should be. So I looked you up. Smart thinking, sailor. What is your name? Apprentice Marcus Webb, Master Chief. Jack studied the young man, saw genuine concern, saw someone who cared about doing the job right. Okay, Webb, document everything. Photos, serial numbers, exact measurements. Then secure this panel and continue regular duties. Do not tell anyone else. Understand? Webb frowned. But Master Chief, should not I report this to my chain, to Petty Officer Davis? Jack kept his voice level. I will handle the reporting. I need to verify a few things first. Can you trust me on this? The young sailor hesitated, then nodded. Yes, Master Chief. After Webb finished documentation, Jack took his own photos, made his own notes. Then he called Doc. We need to move up our timeline. I will explain tonight. The rest of the day dragged. Jack went through motions, taught classes, reviewed paperwork, all while his mind worked the problem. At 1800 hours, he drove to the safe house. Not his home, too risky. Doc had arranged a rental property outside town. Cash payment, no trail. No, Doc was already there. Looking grim, I found the pattern. Doc had his laptop open, medical files displayed. 15 pilots across 3 squadrons, all showing similar symptoms. Nothing dramatic, nothing that would fail a flight physical, but enough to affect performance in high stress. Jack studied the data. When did symptoms start? Doc scrolled through varied timing, but all within 6 months. And here's the thing. All 15 fly aircraft we now know have compromised guidance systems. So the sabotage is not just mechanical. Jack saw it clearly. They are doing something to the pilots too. Exposure during maintenance, I pulled up by every one of these pilots did cockpit familiarization in the past 6 months. Spent extended time in aircraft during ground maintenance. Being exposed during maintenance. Jack felt pieces clicking together. Something in the cockpit builds up over time, subtle, but effective enough to degrade performance. Exactly, by deployment time, pilots will be operating at 70–80% capacity. Not enough to fail, obviously, but enough to lose in a real fight. Jack pulled out his notes, showed Doc the new evidence from 417 Delta. Doc whistled low. This is bigger than we thought, not just a couple aircraft, systematic operation across squadrons, which means we need help. Jack had been thinking about this all day. We need to bring in Admiral Mitchell, get official support. Do you trust him? 100%? Jack thought about Hawk, about the man who had been like a father after his own father died. Yes, I trust him completely. Jack pulled out his phone, dialed a number he had not called in 3 years. 4 rings, then a familiar voice. This is Mitchell. Admiral, this is Jack Brennan. I need to see you tonight. It is urgent. Pause. Jack? Good Lord, son. What is this about? Sir, I cannot discuss over phone, but it involves national security, and it involves my father. Longer pause. There is a diner off Route 64, the crossroads, 2 hours. Come alone. I will be there, sir. Jack hung up, looked at Doc. He will meet me, but wants me alone. Makes sense. He does not know me. Might think setup. Doc nodded. You go. I stay here. Monitor communications. If anything goes wrong, I will know. Jack checked his watch. 21:30 hours, 2 hours until meeting. They went over evidence again, organized it, made sure every piece could be verified. At 2100, Jack left for the meeting. The drive took 40 minutes. Rain had started again. Heavy, relentless. Jack kept checking mirrors, looking for tails, for surveillance. The Crossroads diner sat at intersection of 2 country roads. Classic American establishment. Chrome and neon. The parking lot was mostly empty. Admiral Mitchell's car was already there. Black sedan, government plates. Parked away from entrance. Jack parked, took a deep breath, checked his sidearm. Probably illegal for this meeting. But after what he had found, he was not going anywhere unarmed. Inside, the diner smelled like coffee and grease and pie. Hawk sat in the back booth, facing the door. He looked older than Jack remembered. Thinner, but his eyes were still sharp. Jack slid into the booth. Admiral Jack. Hawk's voice was warm. You look like you have been carrying the weight of the world. Feels that way sometimes, sir. Hawk signaled the waitress, ordered coffee for both. Waited until she was gone. You said this involves your father. Thomas was a good man, a good pilot. Thank you, sir. Jack pulled out the diary, placed it on the table. But I think his loss was not what we were told. Hawk looked at the diary, then at Jack, expression unreadable. That is a serious accusation, Commander. I know, sir, and I would not make it without evidence. For the next 20 minutes, Jack walked Hawk through everything. The maintenance discrepancies, the sabotage pattern, the medical issues, the personnel transfers that did not add up. His father's diary suggesting he had been investigating something similar 50 years ago. Hawk listened without interruption, his face growing more grave. When Jack finished, the Admiral sat back, looked out a window at rain, was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. Jack, what you are describing is a nightmare scenario. Long-term enemy intelligence operation embedded in our military structure, operating across decades. Yes, sir, that is exactly what I am describing. And you have proof? Jack handed across a flash drive. Everything is here. Maintenance records, medical files, personnel data, timeline analysis, all verifiable. Hawk took the drive, turned it over in his hands. If this is real, the implications are staggering. Threat that goes to highest levels, that has survived multiple administrations, that means it is protected. That means exposure will be dangerous. I understand, sir. Do you? Hawk's eyes were intense. Because once we start this, there is no going back. People will die, Jack. Good people. Maybe you. Maybe me. Are you prepared? Jack thought about his father, about Doc, about Sarah, about all the sacrifices. Sir, I have been prepared my entire life. This is what warriors do. We stand between the innocent and the threat, no matter the cost. Hawk nodded slowly. Your father would be proud. Thank you, sir. The Admiral stood, placed money on table, held up the drive. I will take this to people I trust. Outside normal chain. We will verify everything. If it checks out, we move. Fast and hard. How long, sir? Give me 48 hours. Hawk's voice was grim. And Jack, stay alert. If there is a network, they might already know you are investigating. Understood, sir. They shook hands. The grip of warriors who understood sacrifice. Jack left first, drove into rain, mind turning to next steps. Halfway back to safe house, he noticed headlights behind him. Keeping pace, matching speed. Jack took random turn. Headlights followed. Another turn, still there. His pulse quickened. Training kicked in. He was being followed. Jack reached for phone, started to call Doc, then saw movement in rear view. The following car accelerating. Coming fast. Too fast. Jack hit the gas. His old pickup responded, but not fast enough. The pursuing vehicle slammed his rear bumper. Hard. Professional. Tactical driving technique. Jack fought the wheel, kept control, but the next hit was harder, sent him sliding on wet pavement. He yanked wheel, overcorrected, the truck fishtailed. For a terrible moment, he thought it would roll. Then tires grabbed. He straightened, accelerated. But the pursuing vehicle was better, faster, gaining. Jack's mind raced, outmatched in equipment, injured leg, limited mobility. No backup, middle of nowhere. He needed advantage, something pursuers would not expect. Ahead, unmarked turnoff, barely visible, leading into forest, probably logging road. Jack made split-second decision, yanked wheel hard at last moment. Truck slid into turn, branches scraped sides. Behind him, pursuing the vehicle overshot. Had to brake, back up, lost seconds. Jack accelerated down dark road, no lights, using memory and instinct. Trees rushed past, road narrowed, got rougher. Perfect. He knew these woods, had trained here years ago, knew there was clearing ahead. Big enough to turn around, small enough to be defensible. He reached clearing, spun truck, killed engine and lights, grabbed sidearm, rolled out driver door, moved into trees, and waited. Pursuing vehicle arrived 30 seconds later. Came fast. Too fast. Expecting chase, not ambush. Jack saw it clearly in headlights. Black SUV, government plates, professional operation. SUV stopped. Engine running. High beam sweeping clearing. Doors opened. 4 men emerged. All armed, all moving with military precision. Jack felt coldness settle over him. The calm before combat, when training took over. One man spoke into radio. Target vehicle located, no sign of occupant. Another moved toward Jack's truck. Gun raised, professional clearing technique. Jack let him get close. Waited until the man was committed, then moved. He came out of darkness like a ghost. Struck hard and fast. Disarmed the man before he could react. Put him down in 3 seconds without sound. But the others noticed. Heard the scuffle. Turned. Contact! Tree line! Gunfire erupted. Muzzle flashes in darkness. Rounds punching trees where Jack had been. But Jack was moving. Using terrain, using darkness, using every skill learned over 2 decades. He took down second man with shot to leg. Non-lethal but incapacitating. Remaining 2 took cover behind SUV. More professional, more cautious. This is not a standard target, one said into radio. We need backup. Jack used the moment, moved position, came at them from different angle. Put 2 rounds through SUV's engine block. Vehicle died. Headlights went dark. Now everyone was in same darkness. The fight became brutal. Close quarters, hand to hand. The savage violence that happened in shadows. Jack took hits, Fist to ribs, knee to injured leg, felt something tear, felt blood running hot. But he had advantage they did not expect. He had nothing left to lose, and that made him more dangerous than any weapon. When it was over, 3 men were unconscious. One was running into Forrest, and Jack was leaning against his truck, bleeding, gasping, alive. He pulled out phone with shaking hands, dialed Doc. Doc, I need immediate extraction, sending coordinates. And Doc? Yeah, Ironside? It is confirmed, they know, and they are coming. Jack hung up, looked at unconscious men, professional operators, well-equipped, government resources. This was not local security. This was something bigger, something with reach and funding. The network was real. It was active, and now it knew Jack Brennan was hunting it. The seasoned warrior had drawn blood. But the real fight was just beginning. And somewhere in darkness, in offices and command centers Jack could not yet identify, people were making decisions, mobilizing resources, preparing responses. The game had changed. The stakes had risen. Jack Brennan had never left a mission incomplete in his life, and he was not about to start now. Previously on The Last Guardian, Commander Jack Brennan discovered systematic sabotage of naval aircraft. With Doc Harrison, he uncovered a conspiracy targeting Pacific Fleet squadrons. Young pilot Lieutenant Webb joined their investigation. After delivering evidence to Admiral Mitchell, Jack was ambushed. They have 48 hours before the Admiral can verify an act. But the conspiracy knows they are hunting. Act 2A, the pier. Day 2 of the investigation started at 0300 with a phone call that changed everything. Jack's burner phone buzzed. Doc's voice urgent. We have a break. Petty Officer Davis just received a payment. $50,000, cryptocurrency. Traced it to a shell company in Cyprus. Russian front operation. Jack was already pulling on his clothes. Where are you? Surveillance van outside Davis's apartment. He is moving. Looks spooked. Packing a go bag. Do not lose him. I am 10 minutes out. 9 minutes later, Jack pulled up next to Doc's van. Climbed in. The interior was packed with monitoring equipment. Screens showing Davis's apartment. Audio feeds. GPS tracking. Doc handed Jack an earpiece. He made 3 phone calls in the past hour, all to the same number. I recorded the conversations. He played the audio. Davis's voice, scared, desperate. I did not sign up for this. You said it was just data collection, just reporting maintenance schedules. Now you are asking me to actually compromise aircraft? People could die. A second voice, calm, professional, slight accent. You signed up when you took the first payment, petty officer. Now you do what you are told, or your family learns about your gambling debts and your debts to people who do not accept late payments. I want out. There is no out. You meet me tonight. Pier 12, 0200. We discuss your continued cooperation, or we discuss alternatives. The recording ended. Jack and Doc looked at each other. Pier 12, Doc said. Old cargo pier. Been abandoned for 5 years. No security, no witnesses. Perfect place for a meeting you do not want observed. Jack checked his watch. 03:15. We have less than an hour. Jack, this could be a trap. They know we are investigating. Or it could be our only chance to identify who Davis is working for. To get proof. Doc was quiet then. Okay, but we do this tactical. Full gear, backup plans. They geared up. Body armor, weapons, communication equipment, night vision. The tools of their old profession. At 03:45, they were in position around Pier 12. Jack on the north side, Doc on the south. Overlapping fields of fire. Multiple escape routes identified. At 03:58, Davis arrived, drove his personal vehicle, parked at the pier entrance, got out, looked around nervously, the body language of a man who knew he was in over his head. At 0400 exactly, a black SUV arrived, government plates, professional operation. 4 men got out, 3 took security positions. The 4th approached Davis. Jack zoomed in with his scope, got a clear look at the man's face, took photos, ran them through facial recognition software on his phone. Got a hit. Captain Eric Volkov, Naval Intelligence Officer, Pentagon, security clearance top secret, service record impeccable. And according to deep background search, born Yevgeny Volkov in Moscow, immigrated at age 6, naturalized at 18, 24 years of perfect service. Too perfect. Jack sent the information to Doc, watched the meeting unfold. Davis was talking fast, gesturing, clearly agitated. Volkov was calm, in control, the predator managing prey. Then Volkov pulled out a phone, showed Davis something on the screen. Davis went pale, shook his head violently, started backing away. Volkov nodded to one of his men. The man drew a suppressed pistol. No! Jack was moving before conscious thought, breaking cover, sprinting across open ground, 20 years of SEAL training screaming that he was making a mistake. But Jack Brennan had never been good at the cold calculus that said some lives were acceptable losses. The shot was silent. Davis dropped, blood spreading across concrete. Jack opened fire. 3-round burst. Hit the shooter in the shoulder. Non-lethal but incapacitating. Doc opened fire from his position, suppressing the other security, forcing them to cover. Volkov looked directly at Jack. Their eyes met across 50 meters of darkness, and Volkov smiled, like he had been expecting this, like everything was going according to plan. Then he was moving, fast, professional, using his men as cover, getting to the SUV, gone before Jack could close distance. The firefight lasted 90 seconds. When it ended, one of Volkov's men was dead. 2 were wounded, Davis was dead, and Jack and Doc were standing in the middle of a crime scene. "We need to move," Doc said, "now, before base police respond." But Jack was kneeling beside Davis, checking for signs of life, finding none. Another warrior dead, another family that would get the notification. He found Davis's phone, pocketed it, took photos of the scene, documented everything. Then they were running, back to the van, gone before the sirens started. In the safe house 3 miles away, Jack and Doc processed what had just happened. "They killed him," Doc said. "Killed their own asset because he was becoming unreliable. Which means they have others. Davis was not critical. He was expendable. They have redundancy." Jack pulled up Davis's phone, started going through data, found encrypted messages, financial records, found a list of names. 7 names. 7 maintenance supervisors across 4 naval air stations, all part of the network. Davis had been just one cell, one supervisor at NAS Oceana, but the network extended to Jacksonville, to San Diego, to Lemoore, to Whidbey Island. Each base had its own supervisor, its own compromised maintenance operations. But the most important find was a series of messages between Davis and someone identified only as Alpha. Instructions, payments, threats, and one message that made Jack's blood run cold. Timeline accelerated. Package deployment moves to next week. Ensure all units fully compromised before 0800 Monday. Activation codes will be transmitted during operational deployment. No room for error. Jack showed Doc. Timeline accelerated. They are moving faster than we thought. Monday, that is 4 days from now. Doc pulled up deployment schedules. Jesus, Monday is when the carrier strike group deploys. USS Ronald Reagan and her escorts, including all 4 squadrons we have been tracking. They are not preparing for future conflict. They are preparing for immediate deployment. Something is happening. Jack pulled up news feeds, scanned for anything related to Taiwan, to China, to Pacific tensions. Found it. Emergency Diplomatic Summit scheduled for next week. Taiwan, China, United States. High-level talks about Taiwan independence referendum. Tensions at their highest point in 50 years. Doc, if those talks fail, if shooting starts, our carrier group will be first response. And if that group has been systematically compromised, if pilots are underperforming and weapons failing, we lose decisively, publicly. Russia benefits, China benefits. America looks weak and incapable. Every ally questions our protection. Jack stood, started pacing, mind racing through options. We go to Hawk, now, we do not wait. We take what we have and force immediate action. Jack, we do not have proof that will stand in court. We have circumstantial evidence. A dead asset and a named officer we cannot prove is dirty. Then we get proof, tonight. We hit Volkov, we take him down, we make him talk. That is kidnapping, assault, probably treason. Jack met Doc's eyes. Then I go alone. This is on me. You have plausible deniability. Doc shook his head. Brother, I have been with you through 3 wars and more black ops than I can count. You think I am sitting this out because it might be illegal? We are way past legal. We are into necessary. They gripped forearms, the warrior bond. Jack was about to start planning when his phone rang. The secure line, the number only 3 people had. Admiral Mitchell, Jack answered. Sir. Commander Brennan. Hawk's voice was strained, weak, wrong. I need you to listen very carefully because I do not have much time. I was shot 30 minutes ago. In my home. Professional hit. I am bleeding out. Ambulance is on the way, but I do not think I am making it. Jack felt the floor drop out. Sir, hold on. Stay with me. Where are you hit? Chest, lung. I can feel it filling with blood. Hawk coughed. Wet. Terrible. Jack, I got your evidence package, started making calls, started pushing for investigation. Someone found out, someone high enough to authorize a hit on a flag officer. Who, sir? Who did this? I do not know, but Jack, listen, the conspiracy goes higher than we thought. Command level, intelligence, maybe Pentagon level. Sir, we are coming to you. No, you stay hidden. You stay alive. You finish this. Hawk's breathing was labored, failing. Your father was right, Jack. There is a network. I tried to investigate back in '87, got shut down, threatened, thought it was over, but it was not. It just went deeper. Sir, please hold on. Jack, I am proud of you. Always have been. You are the son I never had, the warrior I always wanted to be. Finish this for your father, for me, for all the good people who died because we looked away. The line went dead. Jack stood there, phone in hand, unable to move, unable to process. Hawk was dead, his mentor, his father figure, gone, murdered, because Jack had asked for help. Doc saw his face. Jack, what happened? Hawk is dead. They killed him because I sent him evidence, because I asked him to investigate. Jack's voice was hollow. I got him killed, Doc. This is on me. No. Doc grabbed Jack's shoulders, forced eye contact. This is on them, on the conspiracy, on the traitors. Hawk knew the risks. He was a warrior. He died doing his duty. Do not you dare dishonor that by taking blame. Jack felt something break inside, the last wall he had been holding up, the control that kept him functional through Sarah's death, through Afghanistan, through everything. He broke, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet shattering. Doc held him. Let him grieve. Let him rage. Let him be human for the first time in 3 years. When it was over, when Jack had nothing left, Doc spoke quietly. What do we do now, Ironside? Jack looked up. His eyes were red but clear, focused, cold. Now we stop playing by their rules. Now we go to war. Act 2, be the inheritance. They could not stay at the safe house. If Hawk had been compromised, they would be looking for Jack next. Doc and Jack loaded gear into the van, wiped the location, burned what could not be moved, disappeared into the night. At 0600, as sun rose over Virginia, they arrived at a place Jack had not been in 30 years. His father's house. The property sat 40 miles outside Norfolk. Rural, isolated, a small ranch house on 20 acres of woods. The place where Jack had grown up, where he had learned to hunt, to shoot, to be a warrior like his father. The place his mother had sold after his father died, that Jack had bought back 5 years ago, with deployment bonus money, that he had kept but never visited because walking through those rooms meant facing memories too painful to touch. But now, running from enemies everywhere, this forgotten house was the safest place he could think of. They parked the van in the old barn, covered it with tarps, made the property look abandoned. Inside, the house was exactly as Jack remembered, frozen in time. His mother had left the furniture, the photos, everything. Jack stood in the living room, surrounded by ghosts. Doc gave him space, went to secure the perimeter. Jack walked to his father's study. The door had been closed for 30 years. He opened it. The smell of old paper and pipe tobacco, his father's desk, his flight logs, his commendations on the wall. A photo of Lieutenant Commander Thomas Brennan in his flight suit, standing next to his F-4 Phantom. Young, confident, immortal. Dead at 43. Jack sat at the desk, opened the drawer, found his father's diary. He opened to the last entry. May 20th, 1971, the day before his father's final mission. I know now that I will not survive tomorrow's flight. The mission parameters have been changed. The route takes me over heavily defended airspace. The intelligence is wrong, deliberately wrong. Someone wants me dead because I asked too many questions. If you are reading this, Jack, finish what I started. Find the traitors, expose them. Make my death mean something. I love you, son. I am sorry I will not be there, but I know you will make me proud because you are a Brennan, and Brennans do not quit. Jack closed the diary, felt tears on his face. I hear you, Dad. I am finishing it, I promise. Doc appeared in the doorway. Jack, we need to plan the next move. We lost our contact at Pentagon. We have no official support, and we have 4 days until Carrier Group deploys with compromised systems. I know. Jack stood, wiped his face, became the warrior again. But we have something they do not expect. We have their operational timeline. We know when they activate, which means we can stop it. How? By going public, by forcing the Navy to ground every aircraft we identified, by making it impossible to deploy on schedule. That will expose us, make us targets. We are already targets, Doc. Hawk is dead. Davis is dead. How long before they come for us? For Webb? Doc was quiet, then nodded. Okay, but we need someone we can trust to deliver the information. Someone with credibility. Jack thought about it, went through his list of contacts, people he had served with, people who owed him. Came up empty. Then he remembered. Lieutenant Commander David Shaw. Who is Shaw? Naval aviator, test pilot, based at Pax River. We served together 10 years ago on a black project. Man is brilliant, fearless, works directly for CNO on advanced weapons testing, outside normal chain of command. Can we trust him? I saved his life in Kandahar, pulled him out of a burning helicopter. He owes me, and Shaw always pays his debts. Jack pulled out his phone, dialed a number he had not called in 5 years. Answered on second ring. This is Shaw. David, this is Jack Brennan. I need your help, and I need you to not ask questions until I finish talking. Pause. Then, Ironside? Holy hell, I thought you were dead. Heard you got blown up in Afghanistan. I got better. Now listen, I have evidence of Russian sabotage across Pacific Fleet aviation. I have proof of embedded agents. I have a timeline showing they plan to activate during carrier deployment next week. And I have nowhere to take this because everyone I contacted has been killed or compromised. Silence on the line, then, Jesus Christ, Jack, what are you into? War, David. A war that has been going on 50 years. A war my father died fighting. And I need someone I can trust to make sure the evidence survives, even if I do not. Where are you? Jack gave him the address. Can you get here without being followed? I'm a test pilot, Ironside. Evading radar is literally my job. I will be there in 3 hours. The line went dead. Doc looked at Jack. You trust him? With my life. Which is exactly what I am doing. They spent the next 3 hours preparing, organizing evidence, building the case, making copies, establishing dead drops. At 09:30, they heard a car approaching, single vehicle, civilian, moving carefully up the long driveway. Jack and Doc took positions, weapons ready, watching. The car stopped. Driver got out. Lieutenant Commander David Shaw, 35 years old, fit, alert, moving like someone who spent his life in high-stress environments. Jack stepped out. David? Shaw turned, smiled. Ironside, you look terrible. You look like you have been drinking smoothies and dating supermodels. Only on Wednesdays. Shaw's smile faded. Jack, what the hell is going on? Come inside, I will show you everything. For the next hour, Jack walked Shaw through the evidence. The compromised aircraft, the medical records, the financial trails, Davis's murder, Hawk's assassination, his father's diary, everything. Shaw listened without interruption, expression growing darker. When Jack finished, Shaw sat back. This is real, all of it. You are not paranoid. This is actual enemy operation. Yes, and you need me to take this to someone who can act on it. Someone outside normal chain. Someone who cannot be compromised or threatened. Shaw thought about it. I know someone. Admiral Sarah Chen, CNO Special Investigator, works directly for Chief of Naval Operations on internal threats. No chain of command between her and the top. If anyone can force action, it is her. Can you get to her? I can get a meeting. Today. But Jack, once I do this, you are going to be in the spotlight. Everyone is going to know you have been investigating. Everyone is going to want you dead. They already want me dead, David. At least this way the truth survives even if I do not. Shaw stood, held out his hand. It has been an honor serving with you, Ironside. Then, now, always. They shook. The grip of warriors who understood sacrifice. Shaw took copies of everything, loaded them into encrypted drives, prepared to leave. At the door, he turned back. Jack, if this goes south, if they come for you before I can get help, where do I find your body? Jack smiled, cold, predatory. You will not find a body, David, because I am not dying until every last one of these traitors is in the ground. That is the Ironside I remember. See you on the other side, brother. Shaw left. His car disappeared down the driveway. Doc looked at Jack. Now what? Now we wait, and we prepare. Because when Shaw delivers that evidence, when the Navy realizes how deep this goes, the conspiracy is going to panic. They are going to try to destroy evidence, eliminate witnesses, which means they come for us, which means they try. Jack's smile widened. But we are not going to be where they expect. We are going hunting, Doc, active offense. We find them before they find us. How? Jack pulled up the list of names from Davis's phone. The 7 maintenance supervisors, all part of the network. But one name stood out. Master Chief Brandon Hayes, Naval Air Station Jacksonville. Different base, different cell, but same network, same handlers. Hayes, NAS Jacksonville. According to financial records, he has been taking payments for 18 months. Smaller amounts than Davis. Less committed, more vulnerable. You want to grab him, make him talk. He is the weakest link. Davis is dead. The others are at different bases, too far to hit quickly. But Hayes, he is close. 2-hour drive. We can take him tonight. That is kidnapping, torture. That is war, Doc. And in war, you do what is necessary. Doc looked at his oldest friend, saw the cold determination, the absolute certainty. Then I am with you, all the way. Whatever it takes. They gripped forearms, brothers, warriors. The grizzled veterans were done running, done hiding, done playing defense. Now they were bringing the fight to the enemy. Act 2C, the monument. Master Chief Brandon Hayes lived alone in Jacksonville. Divorced, no kids, gambling problem according to financial forensics. The kind of man Russians love to recruit, desperate, isolated, corruptible. At 2200 hours, Hayes left a local bar. Drunk, stumbling, easy prey. Jack and Doc took him in the parking lot. Quick, professional, into the van before anyone noticed. Hayes woke up zip-tied to a chair in an abandoned warehouse. Jack and Doc standing over him. What the hell? Who are you people? Jack showed him his Navy ID. Commander Jack Brennan, you are going to tell me everything you know about the Russian operation you are working for, and you are going to tell me now. Hayes's eyes went wide. I do not know what you are talking about. Doc pulled out Hayes's phone, showed him encrypted messages, payments, evidence. Master Chief, we have everything. The question is whether you cooperate and maybe save yourself, or stay loyal to people who will kill you the second you become inconvenient. Hayes was sweating, shaking. They will kill me if I talk. They will kill my ex-wife, my parents, everyone. They will kill you anyway, Jack said. The man at Oceana, Petty Officer Davis, he is already dead. Shot because he wanted out. You are next. The only question is whether you die for nothing or die after helping us stop them. Hayes broke, started talking, told them everything. The network was bigger than they thought. Not just maintenance, not just medical, communications, intelligence, logistics, comprehensive penetration designed to ensure complete failure across multiple systems. Coordination came from someone coded Zima, Russian for winter. None of the assets had ever met Zima. All communication was electronic. All payments cryptocurrency. Complete compartmentalization. But Hayes knew one thing that changed everything. Zima was not in Russia. Zima was here, in the United States, in a position to directly observe and control the network. And according to message Hayes received 3 days ago, Zima was preparing for final activation. Where is Zima? I do not know, I swear, but there is a meeting tomorrow. Yorktown, Colonial Monument, noon. Anyone with concerns was told to come. Zima will be there, to reassure us, to make sure we stay committed. Jack and Doc looked at each other. A public meeting, in daylight, bold, or arrogant. They think they are untouchable. Jack made a decision. We go, we identify Zima, we take them down. Jack, this is obviously trap. They know we are investigating. Then we spring the trap, but on our terms, full tactical, multiple angles. They left Hayes alive, gave him a phone, told him to disappear. He was gone in seconds. At 0600 the next morning, Jack and Doc were in Yorktown, surveying the monument, planning the operation, identifying positions. The Colonial Monument sat in center of public park, open ground, multiple approach vectors, civilian foot traffic, terrible ground for ambush. Perfect ground for public meeting where nobody would expect violence. I do not like this, Doc said. Too exposed, too many civilians. Then we make it go right. I go invisible. Draw them out. You provide overwatch. If shooting starts, you cover civilians. I handle threats. That puts you in kill zone. I have been in kill zones before, Doc. At 11:45, Jack walked into the park. Concealed carry, body armor under jacket, comlink to Doc. Every sense hyper alert. At 11:58, they started arriving. Men and women in civilian clothes. Trying to look casual. Failing. Body language of people who knew they were doing something wrong. Jack counted 12. 12 assets, 12 traders. At noon exactly, a woman walked into center of group. Mid-40s, Asian features, professional bearing, confident, in control. She smiled at assembled assets, spoken voice that carried authority. Thank you all for coming. I know there have been concerns, questions, doubts after the unfortunate incident with Petty Officer Davis. I am here to reassure you that the operation remains on schedule. Your safety remains our priority, and your compensation will be delivered as promised. Jack pulled out his phone, took photos, ran facial recognition, got a hit that made his blood freeze. Special Agent Linda Chen, Naval Criminal Investigative Service, Counterintelligence Division. The person supposed to stop espionage. The person with access to every investigation, every report, every whistleblower. The person who had been protecting the network by bearing every threat. Special Agent Chen was Zima. Jack started moving, crossing the park, approaching the group. Chen saw him. Their eyes met, and she smiled, like she had been expecting this. Commander Brennan, how nice of you to join us. The assets scattered, running, panicking. Chen did not move, just stood there, confident, protected, because she was not alone. 4 men emerged from crowd, professional, armed, moving to surround Jack. Doc's voice in his ear. Jack, you have 4 tangos converging. Get out, now. But Jack was not running, not anymore. Agent Chen, or should I call you Zima, you are under arrest for treason, espionage, murder. She laughed. Commander, you are a fugitive. You have no authority, no backup, no way out. This ends here. You are right, this does end here. Jack moved, faster than the tangos expected. Faster than a 52-year-old injured man should move. He took down first one with strike to throat, disarmed second before he could draw. Used weapon to put third on ground. Fourth got shot off, caught Jack inside. Body armor absorbed most, but impact drove him to knees. Doc's rifle cracked from rooftop 300 meters away. Fourth tango dropped. Chen was running now, not panicked, tactical, professional, moving toward extraction point. Jack forced himself up, ignored pain, gave chase. She made it to black SUV, door opening, about to escape. Jack put 3 rounds through engine block. Vehicle died. Chen turned, drew weapon, aimed at Jack. They stood there, 20 feet apart, both armed, both trained, both willing to die if necessary. It is over, Chen. We have everything. Every name, every payment, every piece of evidence. Shaw is delivering it to Admiral Chen as we speak. Your network is done. She smiled. You think this network reports to me? Commander, I am middle management. The operation goes so much higher than you can imagine. Stopping me changes nothing. Then I will stop them too, however long it takes. You are one man, Brennan, one broken veteran. You cannot stop this. Watch me. Chen squeezed trigger. Jack moved, round past where his head had been. His return fire was instant. Professional. Aim to wound, not kill. Chen dropped. Gunshot to shoulder. Weapon skittering across pavement. Jack approached, kicked weapon away, stood over her. You are going to tell me everything. Names, locations, full scope. She was laughing, blood running from her mouth. You still do not understand. This is not about money, not about ideology. This is about ensuring that when war comes, the outcome is already decided, that American hegemony ends. You are talking about treason. I am talking about peace, Commander. True peace. When America can no longer bully the world. Jack felt disgust. You want peace? Then you should have served it, not betrayed the people who fight for it. Sirens in distance, base police, real NCIS, coming fast. Doc's voice. Brother, we need to extract. Now you will be arrested. Jack looked at Chen, bleeding, captured, still smiling. He made choice. Took her phone, took her credentials, took every piece of evidence. Then he was running. Doc picking him up 3 blocks away, gone before first responders arrived. In the van, Jack went through Chen's phone, found encrypted files, found names, found locations, found one message that made everything clear. Final authorization received, network activated, Carrier deployment proceeds as scheduled. Sabotage will manifest during first combat operations. Zima. Sent from Chen's phone 3 hours ago. Before meeting. Before arrest. Before everything. Jack looked at Doc. She activated it. The sabotage. It is already live. Carrier Group is deploying Monday with systems designed to fail in combat. Jesus, how do we stop it? Jack pulled out phone, called Shaw. David, did you deliver evidence? Delivered 1 hour ago. Admiral Chen briefing CNO right now. They are taking it seriously, Jack. Grounding squadrons, launching investigations. You did it. No, we are too late. Zima activated sabotage 3 hours ago. It is already in deployed systems. Carrier Group has compromised aircraft. Silence, then. Jack, if those birds go into combat, pilots will die. Missions will fail. I know, which is why I need you to do something. Something that might end your career. Name it. I need you to get me on that carrier. I need access to aircraft. I need to personally inspect and repair every compromised system before they go into combat. That is impossible. You are fugitive. You are wanted. They will arrest you. Then they arrest me. But first, they let me fix aircraft. Let me save pilots. Then they can do whatever they want with me. Shaw was quiet, then, give me 6 hours. I will make it happen. Line went dead. Doc looked at Jack. Brother, you are talking about surrendering, walking into custody. You know they will bury you. I know. But it is only way to save pilots. To complete mission. And Doc? Mission is all that matters. Doc gripped his shoulder. You are the best man I have ever known, Ironside. Whatever happens next, I want you to know that. Jack smiled. Then I better make sure this last mission is worth it. As sun set over Virginia, Jack Brennan prepared for what would likely be his last operation. His last chance to honor his father's memory. His last chance to protect warriors who depended on systems that should work. The seasoned warrior had one more fight left, one more chance to sink his teeth into enemy and not let go. And if that fight cost him everything, then so be it. Because some things were worth dying for. Some oaths were worth keeping, even when keeping them destroyed you. Commander Jack Ironside Brennan had spent his entire life learning that lesson. Now he would prove he had learned it well. Previously on The Last Garden, Jack and Doc exposed Zima as Special Agent Linda Chen, but she activated sabotage before capture. USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Group is deploying Monday with compromised systems. Jack has made decision to board carrier and personally fix every aircraft, even if it means his arrest. The veteran warrior prepares for his final mission. Act 3A, the carrier. Shaw called back at 2300 hours. Voice tight, controlled. Sound of a man who had just burned every bridge. It is done. You are cleared to board Reagan. But Jack, you need to understand what is waiting. NCIS wants you in custody. JAG wants you court-martialed. Half Pentagon thinks you are a traitor. The only reason they are letting you on that carrier is because Admiral Sarah Chen personally vouched for your evidence. She convinced CNO that saving those pilots is worth the risk. How long do I have? 72 hours. Carrier deploys in 96. You have 3 days to inspect and repair every compromised system across 4 squadrons. 48 aircraft, hundreds of components. Jack, it is impossible. Then I will do the impossible. It is what I was trained for. Silence. Then Shaw's voice quieter. I pulled your father's file. After you told me about him, Lieutenant Commander Thomas Brennan, shot down over Laos, May 21st, 1971. The after-action report was classified for 30 years. I accessed it. Jack's pulse quickened. What did it say? It said his aircraft was operating normally until moment he was hit. But intelligence that put him over that airspace was wrong, deliberately wrong. Someone in planning chain altered his flight path, put him directly over enemy anti-aircraft batteries. Your father did not die in random combat, Jack. He was murdered. Jack felt vindication and rage. 50 years of knowing but not proving. Thank you, David, for finding the truth. I am sorry it took this long, but Jack, your father's last radio transmission was recorded. It was classified, but I accessed it. His last words were, tell my son to finish this. Tell Jack to make it mean something. Jack closed his eyes. I will, Dad, I promise. The helo picks you up at 0600, Norfolk Naval Station. Flight deck. Come alone. Doc cannot come with you. Line went dead. Jack turned to Doc. They sat in safe house, surrounded by evidence, by wreckage of their investigation. I heard, Doc said, you are going alone. I have to. They will not let you on carrier. And Doc, if this goes wrong, if I do not make it back, I need you to do something. Anything, brother. Jack handed him sealed envelope. This contains everything. Names, evidence, accounts, full network as far as we mapped. If I die, you give this to press, to Congress, to anyone who will listen. You make sure truth gets out. Doc took envelope. You are not going to die, Ironside. You are too stubborn. I am 52 with a bad leg and more enemies than I can count. Odds are not great. Odds have never been great. You beat them anyway. Doc stood, gripped Jack's hand. You are best warrior I have ever known, best friend, best brother. Whatever happens, know that you made a difference. Know that I am proud to have served with you. They embraced. Goodbye without saying the words. When they separated, both had wet eyes. Neither bothered hiding it. See you when I get back, Doc. See you when you get it back, brother. At 0600, Jack stood on Norfolk Naval Station flight deck, wearing service uniform, ribbons on chest, Colt 1911 at hip, carrying kit bag with tools. Everything he needed to repair 48 aircraft in 72 hours. Helicopter touchdown. MH-60 Romeo Seahawk, Shaw piloting. He gave Jack thumbs up through canopy. Jack climbed aboard, strapped in. Felt familiar sensation of lifting off. Flight to carrier took 90 minutes. Out over Atlantic, into blue water where Reagan's strike group was conducting pre-deployment exercises. Jack watched ocean pass below. Thought about his father. About all the pilots who had died in aircraft that should have worked. About warriors who trusted systems that had been betrayed. He would fix it, all of it, or die trying. Carrier appeared on horizon. USS Ronald Reagan, CVN-76, Nimitz-class supercarrier, 90,000 tons of American power. Home to 5,000 sailors and 90 aircraft, 48 of which were compromised. Hilo landed on flight deck. Jack stepped out into organized chaos. Aircraft launching, aircraft recovering, maintenance crews everywhere. Shore patrol team was waiting. 4 masters at arms, armed, professional. Not hostile, but not friendly. Lead MA approached. Commander Brennan, you are to come with us. Admiral's orders. Jack nodded, followed them into island. Down narrow passages to Admiral's cabin. Rear Admiral Marcus Hawthorne stood waiting, 58 years old, Carrier Strike Group commander, expression unreadable. Commander Brennan, I have been briefed on your situation, on your investigation, on evidence you gathered. Hawthorne's voice was carefully neutral. I have also been briefed on charges against you. Kidnapping, assault, conspiracy, going outside chain of command. Sir, I can explain. You will explain. But first, you will fix my aircraft, because I have pilots whose lives depend on systems working correctly. And right now, I do not know if I can trust anything on the ship. So you have 72 hours. You inspect every bird we flagged. You repair what needs repairing. You document everything. And then, Commander, you will answer for your actions. Clear? Crystal, sir. Good. Chief Andrews will escort you to maintenance bay. You work under supervision. You touch nothing without sign-off. And Commander, I hope to God you are right about this, because if you are wrong, I will personally ensure you spend rest of your life in Leavenworth. Understood, sir, but I am not wrong. Hawthorne studied him, then nodded. Dismissed. Jack spent next 72 hours in hell, not hell of combat, hell of impossible logistics and desperate precision. 48 aircraft, hundreds of components, every single one needing inspection, verification, repair where necessary. He worked 18-hour days, slept in 4-hour blocks, ate while standing, hands constantly moving, mind constantly calculating, body protesting but pushing through. He found sabotage everywhere, guidance circuits misaligned, radar calibration off, flight control software with embedded failures that would manifest under combat stress, communication systems programmed to fail at critical moments. Every single compromise was subtle, professional, designed to look like equipment variants, the kind of thing that would pass standard inspection but cause catastrophic failure when it mattered most. Jack documented everything, photographed every component, logged every serial number, built undeniable case. And he repaired it all, every circuit, every calibration, every line of code, working with precision born of desperation and purpose. By hour 60, he had processed 32 aircraft. By hour 68, 41. By hour 71, 47. One bird left. Aircraft 401 Fox, F/A 18E Super Hornet assigned to Lieutenant Marcus Webb. Jack found Webb in ready room. Young pilot looked exhausted, stressed, like every aviator before deployment into uncertain waters. Master Chief Brennan, Webb stood. Sir, I heard you were on board, that you were fixing birds. Is it true? Is everything we suspected real? It is real, Lieutenant, all of it. But your aircraft is clean now. All aircraft are clean. You can trust your systems. Webb's relief was visible. Thank you, sir. You saved our lives. You know that? That is why I am here, son, to make sure warriors like you come home. Webb looked at him, really looked. Sir, what they are saying about you, the charges, it is not fair. You are a hero. Fairness is not the point, Lieutenant. Mission is the point. Protecting people who cannot protect themselves. That is all that matters. Jack moved to leave. Webb called after him. Master Chief, will I see you again? Jack smiled, sad, knowing. You will see what I taught you, Lieutenant. You will remember that details matter. That trust must be earned. That warriors protect each other even when system fails. That is what you will see. He left Webb standing there. Returned to maintenance bay. Completed final inspection on 401 Fox. Signed off on repairs. 72 hours. 48 aircraft. Mission complete. He found Admiral Hawthorne on bridge, watching ocean. Sir, aircraft are ready. All systems verified and repaired. Documentation complete. Your pilots are safe. Hawthorne turned. Expression had changed. Respect now. Commander, I reviewed your documentation. Had my best people verify findings. You were right about all of it. Someone was trying to kill my pilots, and you stopped them. Just doing my duty, sir. You did more than duty, Commander. You saved lives. You exposed conspiracy. You completed mission that should have been impossible. Hawthorne extended hand. Whatever happens next, whatever they do to you, know that I will testify on your behalf. I will make sure truth is known. They shook. Grip of warriors who understood sacrifice. Thank you, sir. Commander, there is helicopter waiting to take you back to Norfolk. Shore Patrol will escort you to JAG. You will face charges, but you will face them knowing you saved 5,000 sailors and 90 aircrew. Jack nodded, turned to leave, then stopped. Sir, one question. Do you know what happened to my father? Lieutenant Commander Thomas Brennan, shot down in 71. Hawthorne was quiet, then, I know the story. I know he was investigating similar sabotage. I know his death was not what official reports said. And Commander, I know he would be proud of you. Thank you, sir. That is all I needed to hear. Jack walked to flight deck. Hilo was waiting. But before he could board, alarms started blaring. General quarters, battle stations, not drill. Jack ran back to bridge, found chaos. Officers scrambling, radios crackling. What is happening? Hawthorne's face was grim. Chinese Surface Action Group, 12 nautical miles off starboard. They are illuminating us with fire control radar. Weapons hot. This is about to become very real. Jack felt ice in stomach. Sir, how did we get here? This is not pre-deployment operating area. Our navigation data was updated 6 hours ago. New coordinates, new patrol area, authorized by Pacific Fleet Command. Hawthorne pulled up orders. We were ordered here. Jack saw it immediately. Sir, those orders were compromised. Someone altered them. Put you here deliberately, into situation designed to provoke conflict. To what end? To test sabotage, to force engagement now instead of waiting. They are adapting because we exposed network. Jack's mind raced. Sir, this is activation, final play. Tactical action officer called out. Admiral, Chinese group is maneuvering, taking offensive positions. Sir, they are acting like we are aggressors. Hawthorne understood. They were fed false intelligence, told we were in their waters. Someone orchestrated this from both sides. Who has that access? Jack pulled out phone, files from Chen's device, cross-referenced with orders, found digital signature, traced it, found name. Captain Eric Volkov, Naval Intelligence, Pentagon. Sir, Captain Volkov, he is the one. He has access to both our systems and Chinese networks. Where is Volkov now? Jack checked tracking software he had planted. He is here, sir, on this carrier. He boarded 2 hours ago, using forged CNO orders. Your security had not received Admiral Chen's investigation results yet. His cover was intact. He is in officer country. 3 decks down. Hawthorne's expression hardened. Shore Patrol, find Captain Volkov. Detain immediately. Charge is treason. But Jack was already moving, already running. because he knew Volkov would not go quietly. He found Volkov in planning room, alone, working at computer, probably feeding false information to both sides, escalating situation toward violence. Jack drew weapon. Step away from computer, Captain. Volkov turned, smiled. Same confident smile from peer. Commander Brennan, I wondered when you would arrive. You are predictable, noble, incapable of walking away. You are under arrest for treason, espionage, murder. Am I? Volkov stood slowly. Commander, you are fugitive. You have no authority, and you have no idea how deep this goes. Arresting me changes nothing. Network continues. Not if I stop you right here. You cannot stop ideas, Commander. You cannot arrest history. American empire is dying. We are just helping it along. Jack kept weapon steady. You talk about empire. I talk about pilots, about warriors who trust equipment, about families who deserve to know their loved ones died honorably, not because traitors sabotaged them. Noble sentiment, ultimately meaningless. Volkov's smile widened. Your father said something similar, right before we shot him down. Volkov moved, faster than Jack expected, drawing concealed weapon. Knife, closing distance before Jack could react. They collided, struggled. Two professionals, two apex predators. Jack's injured leg betrayed him, gave out at critical moment. Volkov drove knife toward his throat. Jack blocked, barely, felt blade slice his forearm, hot blood. But pain was just information. He used Volkov's momentum, redirected, threw him across room. Volkov hit bulkhead hard but rolled, came up ready. They circled, both bleeding, both wounded, both knowing this ended with one dead. You are old, Brennan. Slow, broken. I am younger, faster. Maybe, but I have something you do not. What is that? Nothing left to lose. And that makes me more dangerous than you can imagine. Jack attacked, not with technique, with pure savagery. The violence that came from 52 years of learning that sometimes winning meant being willing to take more damage. Volkov was better trained, faster, stronger. But Jack was willing to die as long as he took Volkov with him. They crashed through furniture, through equipment, fists and elbows and knees. No rules, just two warriors fighting to extinction. Jack took hits that would have dropped most men, kept moving, kept pressing, drove Volkov back, got hands around younger man's throat, squeezed. Volkov struggled, fought, could not break free. Face went purple, eyes widened. Terror now. Shore patrol burst through door, 6 masters at arms, weapons drawn. Commander Brennan, release him now! Jack looked at them, then at Volkov, made choice, released grip, stepped back, hands raised. Volkov collapsed, gasping, alive, defeated but not dead. Masters at arms swarmed both, secured Volkov, turned to Jack. Commander, you are under arrest. Jack complied, felt zip ties, felt weapon being removed. But Volkov was in custody. Immediate threat neutralized. Pilots were safe. Mission complete. Whatever happened to Jack now was secondary. Act 3, the sacrifice. But fate had one more twist. As shore patrol secured the planning room, Volkov's hand moved. Subtle, almost imperceptible, pressing something in his jacket. Jack saw it, recognized it. Bomb! Everyone out! He threw himself at nearest MA, pushed him toward door. Run! The explosion was not large, precisely calculated. Volkov's suicide vest designed to destroy evidence and kill anyone close. Jack took the blast at 5 feet. Body armor absorbed some, but concussive force lifted him, slammed him into bulkhead. His world went white, then red, then dark. When he woke, he was in sickbay, bandaged, broken ribs, concussion, burns, but alive. Doc was there, sitting beside bed, face streaked with tears. Doc, how did you get here? Called in favor from old corpsman buddy on supply vessel. Hidden in medical supply crates marked hazardous authorized personnel only. Risky, illegal. But I have done worse for you before. Doc's voice was rough. Brother, when I heard about explosion, I thought I lost you. Takes more than that to kill me. No, Jack, it does not. Doc's expression was strange, pained. The blast, the shrapnel. I need to tell you something. Jack felt cold dread. What? I was in wrong place, wrong time, heading to find you when explosion went off. Caught the edge of it. Doc pulled back his jacket, showed bandages. Too much blood. Jack, I am not going to make it. No. Jack tried to sit up. Pain exploded. No, Doc, you are going to be fine. We both know that is not true. Doc smiled, weak. But Ironside, we did it. We finished mission. Your father would be proud. I am proud. Doc, you do not get to quit. You owe me beers, remember? Put it on my tab, brother. Doc's hand found Jack's, gripped weak. Tell Sarah I am sorry I could not stay longer. Tell her I loved her. Tell her it was worth it. Doc, please. But Doc's eyes were closing, breathing slowing, monitors screaming. Surgeon looked at Jack, shook head. I am sorry, Commander. He is gone. Jack sat there, holding his brother's hand, feeling weight of another loss, another sacrifice, another warrior who gave everything. Doc had not died in combat glory, had died in brig explosion trying to support his friend, trying to complete mission one last time. And that was perhaps most fitting end for Michael Harrison. Always the support, always the backup, always the brother who showed up when needed. Jack bowed head, let tears fall, grieved for best friend he ever had. Rest easy, Doc. Your watch is over. Mission complete. 2 hours later, Commander Sarah Reeves, JAG officer, came to sickbay. Commander Brennan, despite your injuries, we need to discuss your situation. You stand accused of multiple UCMJ violations. Kidnapping, assault, going outside chain of command. Each carries significant prison time. I understand, ma'am. Do you have anything to say in defense? Jack was quiet then. I did what was necessary to protect American lives. I broke rules because following rules would have gotten people killed. I do not regret any of it. If I had to do it again, I would make same choices. Reeves nodded, made notes. Commander, your actions, while arguably justified, cannot be excused. Military operates on discipline, order, proper procedures. You violated all of that. Yes, ma'am. However, Reeves looked up. Your actions also saved approximately 5,000 lives on this carrier. Exposed foreign intelligence network, prevented catastrophic military confrontation with China. Those facts cannot be ignored. Admiral Hawthorne entered. Commander Reeves, what are your recommendations? Sir, I recommend general court-martial. Let jury decide if Commander Brennan's actions were justified. Let facts be presented in open court. And what do you think that jury will decide? Honestly, sir, I think they will acquit. Any reasonable officer will conclude Commander Brennan did what he had to do. Hawthorne nodded, turned to Jack. Commander, I want to tell you something. When I was junior officer, I served under your father, Lieutenant Commander Thomas Brennan. He was my division officer. He taught me what it meant to be naval officer, what it meant to put duty above self. Jack looked up, surprised. Sir, I did not know. I was just ensign. He probably did not remember me, but I remembered him, his integrity, his courage. And when he died, I suspected something was wrong. But I was too junior, too powerless. I kept suspicions to myself and moved on. Hawthorne stood, walked to a window. For 35 years, I have regretted that silence. Wondered if I could have made difference. And then you showed up, Commander, with evidence, with proof, with courage to do what I was too afraid to do. You finished what your father started. You honored his memory in most meaningful way. Thank you, sir. So here is what I am going to do. I am going to recommend to Pacific Fleet Command that all charges be dropped, that you be fully restored to active duty, that you be promoted to captain and given command of SEAL team conducting counterintelligence operations. Because we need warriors like you, Commander. Jack felt hope, possibility. Sir, I do not know what to say. Say you will accept. Say you will continue fight. Say you will train next generation. Jack stood, came to attention. Sir, I accept, and I will complete mission, whatever it takes. They saluted. 6 months later, the circle finally closed. Act 3, C, Legacy Enclosure. Captain Jack Brennan stood outside abandoned aircraft hangar in Moscow, Idaho. Night had fallen, temperature dropping. His team was in position. Shaw piloting extraction helo 200 meters away. Webb providing overwatch from Ridge. This was it. Cell 17, the last cell, the final piece of conspiracy that had operated for 50 years. Intelligence had taken 6 months to track, to verify, to plan, but now Jack had them. Trapped, cornered, about to be destroyed. He placed C4 charges, photographed final documents, Russian intelligence communications, payment records, proof. Uploaded everything to secure servers. His radio crackled. Webb's voice, Ironside, contact inbound. Multiple vehicles, you have 90 seconds. Jack armed charges, set timer, moved toward exit. Then he saw her. Woman, mid-20s, zip-tied to chair, civilian, terrified, hostage intelligence had not known about. 30 seconds. Leave her and complete mission, or save her and risk everything. Jack Brennan had never left anyone behind. He ran to her, cut zip ties, pulled her toward door. 15 seconds. Gunfire erupted. Jack shielded woman, took hit to body armor, kept moving. 10 seconds. They burst through door, sprinting. 5 seconds. Shaw's truck roaring toward them. 3 seconds. They dove inside. Shaw accelerated. 0. Hangar exploded. Fireball reaching into night sky. Last cell's evidence turning to ash. Conspiracy finally destroyed. Jack looked at woman he had saved. She was crying, shaking, alive. Shaw glanced at him. You cut it close, brother. Always do. Webb's voice on radio. Ironside, clean extract, all tangos down. Cell 17 is finished. Jack felt weight lift. 50 years. 50 years of conspiracy, of betrayal, of good people dying. Now it was over. Truly over. 2 days later, Jack stood at Arlington National Cemetery. Doc Harrison was being buried with full military honors. Jack wore dress uniform, his father's Vietnam medals pinned beside his own ribbons. The Colt 1911 at his side. He placed the challenge coin on Doc's coffin, the sealed trident, the symbol of brotherhood. Rest easy, brother. Your watch is over. Mission complete. All 17 cells destroyed, network eliminated, father's legacy honored. Shaw stood beside him, Webb behind. Warriors united. Sir, Webb said quietly, they need instructors at SEAL training. Men who can teach the old ways, the right ways. Jack smiled. Then I better get to work. 3 months later, Captain Jack Brennan stood before SEAL candidates at Naval Special Warfare Command. 30 young warriors, eager, ready. Good morning, I am Captain Brennan. I am going to teach you what manuals do not cover. What happens when mission requires more than following orders. When doing right thing means breaking rules. He pulled up photo. Doc Harrison, in uniform, smiling, alive. This is Senior Chief Petty Officer Michael Harrison. He was my best friend, my brother. He saved my life more times than I can count. And he died completing mission that should never have existed. Mission to expose traitors in our ranks. Jack paused. Let weight settle. Doc died because he refused to quit. Because he understood some things are worth dying for. Because he was warrior in truest sense. He looked at young faces, saw himself 30 years ago. You are here because you want to be SEALs. You want to be warriors. But being warrior is not about strength. It is about character, about integrity, about being willing to sacrifice everything for mission and for your brothers. He held up his father's Vietnam medals. My father was warrior. He died fighting same enemy I spent my career fighting. He died trying to expose conspiracy. For 50 years, his death was written off as combat casualty, his sacrifice forgotten, his mission incomplete. But I finished it. I completed what he started, not because I am special, but because I refused to quit. Because I honored his memory by continuing his fight. Jack has set down medals, looked at each candidate. Your instructors will teach you tactics, weapons, how to operate in most dangerous environments. But I am teaching you why we do this, why we sacrifice, why we serve. We do it because someone has to, because there are threats most people never see, because our brothers need us, because America needs warriors who understand that freedom is not free. He picked up challenge coin, Navy SEAL trident, held it up. This is not just symbol, this is promise. Promise that you will never quit. Never leave brother behind, never fail to complete mission. And if you earn this, you carry that promise for rest of your life. Jack finished brief, dismissed class, watched them file out. Webb approached, now serving as instructor. Captain Brennan, powerful brief. They will learn from all of us, Lieutenant. That is how brotherhood works. Each generation teaches next. Webb handed him a folder. Sir, you should see this. Intelligence report. Potential new network forming. Different tactics, different players, but similar patterns. Jack opened folder, read report, felt familiar pull, call to action. How many cells identified? 3 so far, and we think there are more. Jack closed folder. Then we better get started. Sir, you just finished one impossible mission. Maybe time to let someone else take over. Jack thought about Doc, about his father, about Hawk, about all the warriors who sacrificed. Doc died because he knew mission mattered more than safety. If I walk away now, his death was for nothing. Father's death was for nothing. I will not dishonor their memory by quitting. Webb nodded. Then I am with you, sir, however long it takes. It might take rest of our lives, Lieutenant. Then we better make our lives count, sir. They walked across compound, past training areas where young SEALs were being forged, past memorial plaques honoring fallen. Jack's phone rang. Encrypted line. Admiral Sarah Chen. Captain Brennan, we need to talk. About network, about how deep it goes, about what needs to happen next. When and where, ma'am? Tomorrow. Pentagon. What you exposed on Reagan? That was just beginning. Conspiracy goes higher than you know. We need warriors like you, like Lieutenant Webb. People who understand fight requires going outside normal channels. We will be there, ma'am. Jack hung up, looked at Webb. Mission continues. Always does, sir. As sun set over Pacific, painting sky in gold and red, Jack felt peace, purpose, meaning. He thought about his father, about Doc, about Hawk, about all who gave everything. He thought about mission, about fight that never truly ended, about eternal struggle between those who protected and those who destroyed. And he thought about legacy, about what he was leaving behind, about warriors he was training, about truth he had exposed. The experienced commander was not done, not yet. There was still work, still enemies, still warriors to protect. And Jack Brennan would keep fighting, keep protecting, keep honoring memory of everyone who sacrificed for this mission. Because that was what warriors did. They fought until mission was complete, until last enemy was defeated, until last brother was safe. And if that fight took rest of his life, then so be it. He was warrior, SEAL, guardian. And guardians did not quit, did not surrender, did not walk away. They stood, they fought, they protected. Until very end. Epilogue, the legacy continues. 1 year after Moscow, Idaho. Encrypted message appeared on secure channels across multiple naval installations. Sender identified only as Phoenix. To all warriors who served with Commander Jack Brennan, to all who knew Senior Chief Michael Harrison, to all who believe duty and honor matter more than politics and procedure. Network continues. Conspiracy remains active. We expose 17 cells, but others survive. Deeper, better hidden, more dangerous. If you want to honor fallen, if you want a complete mission, if you want to be part of something bigger, join the hunt. Phoenix Protocol is active. The old guard never truly retires. We just wait for next fight. And fight is here. In living rooms and barracks and bases across America, warriors read message. Veterans in active duty, young and old, SEALs and pilots and Marines and sailors. And one by one they responded, volunteered, joined mission. Because some fights were worth having, some missions worth completing, some warriors worth honoring. And legacy of Jack Brennan, the seasoned warrior who never quit, who never surrendered, who never walked away. That legacy lived on in every warrior who chose to stand, to fight, to protect. Mission was not over. It would never be over. Because freedom was not free. Because enemies never stopped. Because warriors were always needed. And there would always be warriors willing to pay price, willing to sacrifice, willing to be weapon America needed when darkness came. The veterans had passed torch, but pride remained, brotherhood continued, fight went on. And in heaven or wherever warriors went when watch finally ended, Thomas Brennan and Michael Harrison looked down and smiled. Because mission was in good hands, next generation was ready, legacy would continue. And that was worth dying for. The end.